Dance of the Wallflower by Katie Merchant. Memphis looked at the crumpled, tear-stained envelope her mother had shoved into her hands. She hoped the slime that trailed across the paper consisted only of tears as she heard her mother give an emotional sniffle. The red wax seal on the envelope had been pried from the paper, and the scarlet letter sticking out revealed she was too much of a wallflower to continue. Memphis's heart somersaulted. Before she could respond, the older woman had disappeared into her bedchambers with a loud slam of the hardwood door, wailing with incomprehensible and unrestrained gusto. It happened, finally. Memphis's letter of societal dismissal. Her mother would never look at her the same way again, but the glee that filled her was all-consuming. A trip to the bookstore was in order. She had just finished Antonia, or The Fall of Rome, and it wasn't her flavor. She couldn't help but quietly thank the women gossiping in the pews at church for unknowingly recommending Nathaniel Hawthorne's new book. It would be her special way to celebrate. Her scarlet letter would make the perfect bookmark. She tucked it under her arm beside her purse and tried her best to sneak out of the house but failed. The doorman, George, bowed his head and opened the door for her. "I'll be back before 5. His eyebrows raised in acknowledgement as she waved goodbye. She adjusted her pace to as fast as her petticoat would allow her to walk and still breathe. She would handle her parents' wrath later. A black cat ran ahead of her on the granite street and dipped behind the alley of beautifully cobbled shops that faced the waterfront. She followed the feline's course and unfolded her letter as she rounded the corner. Sea air hit her face as she walked and read. New York's premier courtship society, New York, September 17th, 1850. Miss Memphis Fineway. The council has concluded it's best to deny your membership renewal to New York's premier courtship society. This is a social club, the point of which is to mingle, not sit in the corner and read. This behavior is not tolerated. We wish you luck on your courtship journey. Brian Fitzgerald, President of New York's premier courtship society." Memphis stopped where she stood. Never again would she endure rooms filled with peacocking men. No more interruption in life, looking for some ill-fated match. She wondered if she could find the cat and start her spinster debut, but just as she rejoined the wharf mentally, an ass's hooves plowed into her chest. Had she paid attention to where she halted, Memphis would have noticed the livestock being escorted off the large ship in port, and the donkey that was tied to the lamppost less than 3 feet away. The world went black and cold. When she could finally think beyond the shock and pain, she realized the diminutive ass had kicked her off the raised pier into the water below. Memphis's heart became as heavy as her dress as she gasped for air. The simple word help would not reach her throat from her bruised lungs. Despair exploded through her veins, but was interrupted by an angelic voice of a woman calling from above. She blinked through tears and noticed a woman was yelling something. Her hearing returned. "You okay? Good Lord, that dress will sink her!" A ladder extended from the dock to the water. The woman yelled, "Grab it!" Memphis could not believe her luck. With difficulty, she swam the yard to the ladder. Grabbing hold of the wooden support was nearly impossible with the heft of her dress. She could tell the weight was hard on the woman clinging from above by the way she grunted. "Take your dress off!" the voice called from above. "No," Memphis whimpered, but almost lost her grip again. She couldn't even move up a rung. "Now!" the angel commanded, and Memphis hooked her arm around the end of the ladder and untied her bodice. A crowd had gathered. She would never live this down. A simple minute of fumbling with frigid fingers and her ensemble disappeared beneath the depths of black water. Cheers rang from above. Memphis was left in her white bloomers and slip. The simple linen was so freeing that in no time she was up the ladder and into the warm arms of her savior, who rushed her past the crowd, across the way, and into the nearest building, telling the voyeurs to find Jesus. They shuffled into a house that was small, warm, and smelled of sage. A towel was wrapped around her. Still in shock, she didn't quite know how to respond as the woman locked the doors and gathered dry garments. "What's your name?" the woman demanded. "No, wait. What were you thinking?" Memphis placed a finger on those precious, questioning, bowed lips, stained almost the same scarlet as her letter. She felt a pull, a desire to make her thanks known, and a new visceral experience. Memphis clung to the yellow edge of the woman's apron. Yours? Alma, she replied, her honey-colored eyes searching deep within Memphis's sapphire pools as she placed a hand on her forehead. Memphis felt no ring. Are you all right? Alma, I have never been better. Memphis's bedraggled appearance screamed otherwise. Is your husband home? I've no interest in men. Alma blushed and brushed a stray hair from the woman's sopping face, concern crinkling around her brow, the void between them thin, effervescent. Memphis leaned in, willing her mouth to extend all her gratitude. Heat moved through both women, passion filling the space just a moment before she backed away. Thank you. Memphis watched the admiration flush across Alma's face. Let's get you to a physician, Alma said, patting her cheek as she pressed the new clothes into Memphis's arms. You can thank me fully after your head's been checked. I look forward to it. Memphis smiled while squeezing Alma's hand. The world felt new,